Alright. Oh, I hope everybody's doing good today. Good morning or afternoon or whatever time it is where you're at. It's mid to late afternoon where I'm at, and it is scorching out today. It was 92 most of the day in the greenhouse. Currently it's sitting at about 110 degrees. So we got the fans going, so I hope that you can hear over that, because I don't think I'm going to turn those off today. It's too hot. So I was trying to decide what the next video I was going to do, because I just posted a video on this crepe myrtle, because I just took the air layer off, and it's been almost a week, been about 5 days or so since I took the air layer off, and you can see it's doing great. It's actually this branch that I trimmed back. You can actually see a bud there already. So, like I said in the video, these trees grow pretty fast. Kind of reminds me of elm trees. I don't know all about all the elm trees, but the elm trees that I've worked with before, they grew extremely fast. They shot out really long leaders really quickly, and they just grew really quick. So yeah, this kind of reminds me of that. And of course, the roosters are going to say stuff while I'm sitting here talking. I got some small chicks also hanging out. I let them out today so that they can run around the yard. Anyway, so back to the tree. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a video on this, or if I wanted to do a video on how to do the air layer from the beginning. But I've wanted to repot this tree for a while. It's doing really good. I don't know exactly what the roots look like in here, so this is going to be exciting for both of us, or all of us, or how many of us are watching. Anyway, so yeah, it's been kind of a long day, so I might say some weird things. Hopefully I don't, but I might. Anyway, so let's get to work on this. I'm going to take it out of the pot. First of all, I'm going to grab a tray here, put it up here so I can collect some of the dirt, because I want to keep as much of it as I can. It's not always a good idea to just lift the tree and the dirt by the trunk of the tree. Kind of see what I'm working with on the surface of the tree. It looks like this tree had an ant problem, or has, so that I'm going to have to be careful with. As you see all the tunnels right here, and it's dry on this side and it's wet on this side, so it wasn't getting watered properly. It's probably because of where it was sitting in the garden. I've got a sprinkler system, and that's typically what I let water the bonsais, unless it's a really hot day. Then I will come out later on in the day after it's been hot for a while, when I get home from work or whatever, and I'll water them again just to make sure that they don't have any issues. So I did re-water this tree today already, actually just a little while ago. I didn't water it a lot because it's not sagging or anything. The leaves are still solid. Everything's pointing upwards, so that means that it's got enough water. I just typically water them again for the evening, because it stays pretty hot during the summer here. So anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to try and catch as much of this soil as I can. And this is not going to be big enough. Trying to look around to see if I have something bigger to put. I do. I'll be right back. So like I've said before, I do like to hang on to my soil so I can reuse it on other stuff. So with this tree, obviously this is going to be a massive amount of soil, and I don't need the root ball anywhere near this big. So I'm going to reduce it down to what I feel is necessary for the tree to survive and do well, not just to live, but to do well. So we don't want our trees just surviving, we want them thriving. And we want them to continue to grow. You know, after we repot them, we want them to keep growing, and we don't want them to stop growing or slow down or wilt for a couple of days. I mean, that's not stuff that we're looking to do. Sometimes it happens, but that's not what we're trying to do. So, man, it is really hot out here. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. There we go. That'll work. This doesn't have to be a long process either. I mean, you can just really get in there and get the root ball exposed. And because this is in potting soil, I'm going to expose a lot of the roots. I'm not just going to do, like when you repot it and it's already in bonsai soil, you don't need to go all the way to the trunk or to the inside of the root ball. I'm not going to go all the way in here, but I am going to clean out a majority of this too, because I want to see what the roots look like, and I also want to see if I need to do work on the roots to make them more appealing and healthier. So far, all of these roots look relatively healthy, or really healthy actually. Not too wet, not too dry. Even the spot that is dry, the roots still look healthy right here. So it has been getting watered all the way. Just not this last bit of watering I did this afternoon. It does have some moss on it, some interesting moss. It's really long moss, I kind of like it, so I'm going to hang on to that. I'm trying to be careful of the ants. I don't see a whole lot of them yet. But these ants, when they bite you, it is not pleasant. They leave like a welt, and yeah, that's not pleasant. I'm sure there's other places that have really mean ants too. I'm not saying that mine are the worst, but I don't want to get bit. I have been bit multiple times, and that's not fun. So I'm going to attempt not to. I might turn this on its side a little bit. Make sure it's not smashing anything down there. Dirt in my face. So like I said, this tree was an air layer off one of the larger crepe myrtles in the yard, and it was just a twig. It was, honestly, it was this big when I found it. It was about this size. And when I air layered it, it was about this big. I had let it grow really long, and then I chopped it back to a couple of leaves and let it grow really long again. And that's how I got some of the branching. But it was about this size when I put the little ball on it to air layer it. And I didn't let it go as long as I did for this air layering, just because I was kind of impatient and it was starting to grow into the walkway, so it was kind of getting inconvenient. So I just took it off the tree, and obviously it did great because that's a lot of roots for an air layer. And I've only had this in this pot for part of last summer, the winter, and then now it's June, early June, so yeah, not very long. It's already got all these roots. What I've seen, you know, it grows fast. They grow roots really rapidly too, which is awesome. I was pretty sure that it would because of the foliage growth is pretty quick, so I was pretty sure that the root growth would be fast too. I'll tell you, it is a little bit easier to take the potting soil out of the roots if it's drier than this is. So, I mean, if you can let it dry out just a little bit, it is helpful. Plus, it's lighter if it's not wet. The soil actually smells really good, like good quality dirt, which is very nice. It doesn't have a nasty smell to it or a rotting smell to it, which means that the roots are healthy. It means the dirt's healthy also. Just trying to get it to kind of fall out of the roots here. I'm trying not to rip the roots. I'm just kind of manipulating them enough to get the dirt to break free or to unclump and come out. Of course, there's going to be a yellow fly messing with me while I'm doing my video too. But I'm going to dump this. Oh, dump the camera. Kind of pulling the roots down to make them straighten out also. So I'm going to cut these roots back a lot. They don't need to be this big. Alright, so I've got this all rinsed off. Dump this out again. And I really don't need this. So I'm toss it up under the bench. So I found where the air layer was attached to the tree. That's right here. That's where it was air layered from the tree. The branch kind of sat like this actually off the tree. And it had roots off of one side. So that's what this is. That's the original root that came off the side of the tree, turned into all this. So this definitely needs to be sorted out. I hope you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. So that's the main root right there, and you can see that it definitely needs to be sorted out. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to do this one-handed, sorry. So you got a lot of roots going on in here. You got a lot of stuff crossing, a lot of stuff going in crazy places. So I'm definitely going to sort that out. I'm going to clean up the table a little bit here. I know I'm working with trees and dirt, but I don't like to work dirty. It's easier to clean up as you go rather than to go and then clean up. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to just trim off all the long hanging roots. You don't need any of that. So because it was in potting soil, the roots grow long and thin, and obviously when they hit the edge of the pot they bend. So I don't want bent roots. Don't want long gangly roots. So once we put this in bonsai soil, proper bonsai soil, it will start changing the composition of the roots. The roots will start growing shorter internodes. They'll start growing, looking like actual roots instead of just long roots, hairy roots. Try and get in here and get this root out of here a little bit. These roots are pretty stiff. It's interesting. This is actually my first crepe myrtle bonsai, and honestly, my first real experience with crepe myrtle is this tree here. So, I'm learning a lot as I go. I'm treating it like pretty much any other tree that I have, and the fact that I'm watching it grow, watching how it reacts to things, making small movements or small cuts at a time. When I first started growing it, really when it was on the mother tree, I did small cuts to the foliage to find out what its reaction would be before I really chopped it back to get it to get shorter for the purpose of bonsai. But like the roots and how they react and how they grow, what they look like, how stiff they are. I don't know all of that until now, so it's pretty interesting. These are very interesting trees to me because they grow just so rapidly, and they grow just. I have a tree out front in the front of our house that a lot of it died. And I don't know why a lot of it died, just quite a bit of it died, so I cut it all off, and it had one branch that went just kind of straight up in the air, and I left that one because it had a small amount, about this amount of growth on it, and the top of the tree looks like a tree again, and it's been maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months even, and the whole bottom of the tree I cut off because it had multiple trunks, and the whole bottom of the tree was all dead, all the big branches. It had one branch that was alive, so I chopped everything off, and it's like a bush already. So it's pretty interesting to watch these guys grow. I'm really excited to see this turn into a bonsai. So I'm just kind of sorting out like the smaller loose roots. I'm taking them out. I'm just kind of grabbing it and just hanging on a little bit. Anything that stays in my fingers is loose. It needs to come out. Because it's already been cut or whatever. Or it's weeds. Because obviously it had a lot of weeds in it too. So the weed roots will stay in amongst the other roots. The really fine white hairy roots are the ones that are typically the weed roots. So I definitely don't want to leave those in there. Now I'm picking out all the roots that are sticking way up like this one. It's growing off the top of that main root right there. So I'm going to take those off all together. I don't know, I think that looks pretty good for now. I don't want to go too bad or too deep into the roots. I don't want to cut all of them off, obviously, because it needs roots. But something I think I might do, either I'm going to plant this to where it kind of sticks up and then this becomes part of the composition, or something I thought about doing is scuffing the whole heel. That kind of looks like a foot and a heel. Scuff this whole thing here, or take the cambium layer off of it and put rooting hormone on there and make it grow some roots out of here. But if I do that, then eventually I'm going to have to take these off, which I'm not opposed to that. I just don't know if I want to do that right this minute or right now. Kind of thinking about that. Because I still have some roots that are crossing over other roots here. But if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to get rid of the lower roots here instead of the upper roots over here. I don't think I'm going to plant it like that. I think I am. I'm going to plant it like that. We'll see how it goes over the next year or so. Because probably won't repot this for another year, maybe two. Depends on how it grows. So I'm going to use this pot. I got this pot in Colorado while I was out there. This is one of the other pots that I got. It's a very reasonable price. I got this one at Nick's Garden Center also. When I lived out there in Colorado, I really liked to go in there. It's a family-owned business, which is hard to find anymore, but it's a large nursery, which is awesome. That's also something you don't really find is large nurseries that are family-owned and ran. Obviously, I'm trying to find a screen that's going to fit the bottom here. I am kind of trying to hurry because it is ridiculously hot out here. So, there's that. And I'm going to put some soil in the pot here. This. I'm not really looking for a front of the tree, so I don't generally do the front and the back and the side and all that stuff. I'm just looking to see which way it fits in the pot the best. But I am going to plant it to where it's like this in the pot so that that's kind of sticking up. Something I might do is scuff this and mound the bonsai soil up here and then have a couple of roots come out of here into the soil, make it look a little bit more interesting. So what I'll do with the mound of soil, I'll just kind of push it in there, but I'll work the soil into the roots. A little bit more slowly, I guess you could say, because I want to work it all the way into the roots that are exposed under the tree too, because obviously you don't want any air pockets under the tree, because then the tree doesn't grow roots underneath the tree. So we want it to grow roots underneath the tree. So obvious. Darn flies back. They love my ankles. I don't know why. Crazy flies. Turning. Flies gotta go. Alright, so we're getting the soil work down into the roots here. It's looking pretty good so far. I don't want to leave this part exposed a little bit. I am going to make a small mound right here. I'm going to try an experiment with this tree. I'm not going to put the rooting hormone on the back part of the tree. I'm just going to slice it up a little bit and see if that just grows roots like that. So we'll find out. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it's got plenty of roots to live on, so it doesn't need this to turn into roots. I'm going to cut it pretty deep. I'm going to basically carve the bottom of the tree off here. You want to use a sharp knife, and this knife isn't really sharp enough. Kind of sharp, but you obviously don't want to cut your fingers, so having a sharp knife helps. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, really work the soil down into these roots. These roots are really dense and thick, so, or not really thick, they're just really rigid. That's the word I'm looking for. Very rigid. This is really good for this type of tree in or for any tree in a really windy area. Florida can get pretty windy, so having nice strong roots is really good. I know this looks like it's a really big pot for this tree, but I'm going to let it grow pretty large. I like the way these things look when they're large, so I'm going to let it grow kind of large. And this is definitely in the developmental stage of bonsai because obviously it's a relatively new cutting. Has basically its branches, secondary branches, and we're working on the tertiary branches. So basically it's going from 1 to 2 and working on 2 to 4. So we got a long ways to go on this tree, which is good. Darn fly is gonna have to die. We're gonna die, fly. So I think that is good for the soil, the main soil height. Work the soil down a little bit. So now I'm gonna build up this heel just a little bit here. Just like that. Right on. So that pretty much does it for the repotting on this. Later on, once this shoot actually starts growing leaves, I'll cut this leaf off to give it some space. But yeah, it's already got new leaves starting to grow at the ends of all the branches here too. So it's doing really good, even though I chopped off that main branch right there. I really like this tree so far. It's starting to look good. kind of changed the composition of it, tilted it this way a little bit, but that's okay. This stuff will grow back up, and I could always bend it up with some wire. I'm not sure how these things react to wiring because of how fast they do grow and how delicate the bark is. So I might experiment. With some wire. I don't know how serious I'm going to be with the wire. I might do some guide wiring because that's a lot less invasive on the tree. So I might hook a wire up here and pull this up a little bit. So I mean, I could just do that, and it looks perfectly fine. If I just do that, and then this will just grow wherever it's going to. You do clip and grow on it. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Anyway, so I think I'm going to end the video here. It's time to go inside and get some water and relax for the day. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't already liked the video, please like it and subscribe, and let me know what you liked and what you didn't like so I can make my videos better. Awesome. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.